So the purpose of this video is to share with you some of the key messages that were derived from the work that we've been doing at this action. Some of the researchers involved will share with you a few snapshots of this. This has been a joint effort on over 140 researchers in 34 countries in Europe that have been looking at how extending working lives may impact the lives of men and women. We hope that this knowledge may be used by policymakers and different stakeholders while deciding on policies that affect the lives of workers in Europe.
This cost action was set up to investigate the gender and health implications of extended working life policies. Extended working life policies were introduced to address population ageing, and they include policies such as increasing state pension age and any other measure that is introduced to extend working lives. Now, some of these policies are very beneficial for some people who are in rewarding jobs and who find it easy to continue working at an older age. But there are many groups of workers for whom it is very difficult to continue working. So people involved in physically demanding jobs and in precarious employment, and women also have inequalities in pensions already. So extending working lives can sometimes make these inequalities worse over time.
We've also been able to take a broad view because of the interdisciplinarity of the network. So we have sociologists, social policy, economists, and more, which allows us to look at these issues in a very rounded way. But we've also taken theoretically an approach which gives us a broad view. We've taken a life course perspective, so we've understood that looking at what happens to older people, older workers at the ends of their life has to be connected to their lifelong experiences, their education, their work histories, their family transitions. So we've been able to look at that long-term perspective. We've also taken account of the fact that people live linked lives. So you're not looking just at individuals and their retirement or their work trajectories. You're remembering always that they're social creatures, they come out of families, they come out of communities, they come out of particular national contexts. So this has meant we've been able to look at these issues with a very, very broad perspective and understand that we need to look at the impacts of extending working life and gender at different levels, and we need to keep those levels connected. And understood that, of course, family formations are changing, divorces on the rise, and all of these things have an impact on people's ability to work, their caring responsibilities, their finances. So, for example, the impact of divorce for women in later age may well prejudice their pension entitlements. They no longer have access to a husband's pension, so that they might need to carry on working because their financial situation is precarious. Precarity in older age is not simply linked to perhaps insecure work or unemployment. Those things are important and they do make people's lives precarious and they do create risks. But we've been able to show and develop an understanding of how people in relatively secure work can still feel precarious and at risk because they may be doing work that is physically difficult, that they worry they won't be able to carry on doing as they age, that their ability to carry on working will run out. And if that happens, that age discrimination in the labour market means it's not easy to go and find an alternative job. So they may be in a secure contract but feeling very worried about their ability to carry on working, especially if state pension ages have gone up. So they're probably thinking about working longer than they might have expected to work 10 years ago.
In the Cost Action Group, we've been looking at the consequences of extending the working life for pensions. And one of the main issues that we've come up against is the consequences for women and the necessity of women to work longer in order to gain adequate pensions. So, as you probably know, most European countries are introducing major reforms to their pension systems, These consist of two measures mainly. That's introducing defined contribution benefits, which means having to work longer in order to gain a maximum pension. And the second measure is to raise the state retirement age. Now, both of these measures have consequences for certain groups of the population, but particularly for women. Why women? Firstly, because there are major gender pay gaps, which translate further in the life course into differences in retirement, in the value of retirement pensions. So we currently find in the EU that there is, on average, the value of pensions for women is 37% lower than for men. So that means that many women have to continue to work in retirement in order to supplement their retirement income. Secondly, early in the life course, different roles for men and women, in particular the role of women for caring and for bringing up children, means that they have career breaks and they have difficulties in ensuring that they have enough contributions to have a full pension. So extending the working life means that they are disadvantaged in terms of building up their pension rights and ensuring that they have a maximum pension.
To actually enhance women's choice, it is important that we address the structural disadvantage of women at a systemic level. Some of the very important policies that can address this imbalance at a systemic level include family-friendly policies at the workplace. And that means having a creche, having after-school programs, having flexible leave policies that in fact might contribute to the redistribution of care work between men and women. Additional policies that need to be implemented is to look at pension policies that would provide pension credits to women who have to leave the labor force for a period of time to fulfill their caring obligations. But more importantly, even more important, is that there needs to be policies to ensure the economic security of part-time workers, a majority of whom are women. Part-time workers face additional constraints in actually being able to accumulate proper levels of pension benefits to secure their life in old age.
Employment policies might be seen and understood as one of the core elements who is helping the society in preparing for aging population. Imagine that there will be an expectation for women to work longer. We have to think about their need to combine the paid work together with the unpaid care of family members. Not only children, it could be also older members of the family. So to address this issue, this problem, we want governments to push organizations to the flexible working conditions or home offices or some training activities for seniors workers. Employment policies have also addressed not only employees, however also employers and HR managers. So we would very much emphasize the employment policies also to set up anti-discrimination training for employers and HR managers. Governments could make retraining targeted to older workers more available.
We've been looking at for policies to think of ways that especially working conditions should be improved. Why is this important? Well, there are, especially for those people that have work in more arduous jobs or more difficult jobs or have more precarious employments in terms of their contracts, their insecurity, and these people tend to also have more health problems. So on the one hand, these are exactly the people that are more likely to leave the workforce because of health problems. And as they leave the workforce, they're also more difficult. It's also more difficult for them to go back into the workforce. And so what we think is important is that that their working conditions are improved, so that they will not get ill as fast. And if they do get ill or they do get out of the workforce, it's for them easy to go back into the workforce. The younger generation of today are the workers of tomorrow. So it's really a question of taking on a whole life course approach, which is perhaps a bit contradictory to what really is happening, because we are making exactly the working contracts more precarious. You've got in the UK, you've got your 0-hour contracts. Different areas should be better connected, sort of like synergies. So you have your health policies, you have your employment policies, you have your education as well.